Hello, and welcome to I Should Say That Out Loud. I'm your host, Donna Brendel, and this is the holiday edition number 2. Today, I want to talk about how people with autism can enjoy the holidays socially, or how we struggle to enjoy the holidays socially, or any gathering or interaction. I feel like I'm kind of hiding my Spock greeting. I'm just holding an ornament that I have had for a long time that my sister made a long time ago because holiday edition. I like props and breaking the ice with fun things when I'm nervous. And I'm always nervous starting these things. So it's just trying to have some fun. Another ornament from the Southwest, from Arizona, when she lived there and made these for me a long, long time ago. So family and holidays, when you are an autistic person, can be very difficult to enjoy, to relax. And I have a few stories from the past few days that help me to explain this. I think they will help. My first story was from today, this morning. I did my hair and got dressed up. I was wearing something different, but I dressed up for a Christmas breakfast that my church puts on every year and went with my daughter. My daughter hosted a table and invited a bunch of us ladies to join her for the breakfast this morning. I've attended this breakfast for a lot of years, and so I was very comfortable going. I knew what to expect. I knew where the church is. I knew which room it was in. I knew which door to go to. I didn't know which table I was going to be at, but there's always a greeter, and they greet you and say hello and look up your name and tell you which table to go to. And I actually know who the greeter was, and as she was greeting me and looking for my name and my table, my daughter was already in the room waving, "Hi, Mom, over here." So I didn't even have to worry about that. All of these little details can be very, what's the word? Anxiety provoking for people with autism, or people who just struggle with, anxiety and details and social situations. But this event, like I said, I've been to a bunch of times and I was not worried about. And when I got there, there's so much to do, there's so much to look at, and the lights are low, so there's not bright lights to worry about. There's lights on the table because they're decorated very nicely, but they're again low lights. Each table is hosted and decorated by a different woman, so they're all very beautiful to look at, and you can walk around and just look at the tables, and you don't even have to talk to anyone if you don't want to, or if you're not ready to talk, because everybody is looking at all the beautiful decorations and tables, and they are not upset if you are just walking around and looking. And they might stop you and say, "Hi, how you're doing?" You can stop and talk as much as you want, or you can keep moving and keep looking at the tables. So that's kind of a nice way to get going into this kind of social event. And as I was walking around looking at the tables today, I did get stopped a few times and decided to take a longer time than normal talking to people I haven't seen in a while. And it was very lovely. But I've known these people, these women, for like 20, 25 years almost. And so some of them I've only known for a few years, but I've known a lot of these women for a really long time. And so I was comfortable to stop and talk and kind of ask how they're doing. And again, if the conversation got a little awkward, I just said, "Okay, I'm going to go on and look at the next table." And they were okay with that. And it wasn't awkward at all. So that was a very comfortable event for me. Going to someone's house who I've never been to before would be much more uncomfortable, and I'd be much more quiet. And I did experience that recently for a holiday. I went to the house of some friends, and I've known them for a few years now and been there before, but I don't know everybody and I don't know anybody very well. So I was much more quiet up front in that social gathering. In that situation, I was more kind of hesitant and reluctant to be more forward and outgoing. And I just kind of waited for conversation to happen and waited until topics came up that I'm familiar with that I could contribute to. And I was more quiet overall in that whole gathering, as opposed to today where I was more talkative and more reciprocal in conversation, which I love to do. But again, I don't always know people well enough to do that. And then on the far extreme of that, I had an encounter yesterday at the gym, at the YMCA. I was on the elliptical machine and I was kind of at the end of a row of machines and just doing my elliptical. I didn't have headphones in because I had forgotten them. So I was just watching the screens that were up on the wall, and I must have looked approachable because a woman walked up to me in her normal street clothes. She was not there to work out. So I thought that was kind of odd, but then she kind of stopped me. Well, I didn't stop. She just said, "Excuse me, I don't know if you can talk while you're on the machine, but I would like to ask you a question if," and then I saw there was a YMCA staff behind her with the YMCA shirt on. I was like, okay, this is like an official thing. It's not like something to be worried about, I don't think. Although that was running through my head. But she said that she wanted to sign up as a new member. She just moved to the area and she doesn't know anybody. And she wanted to get the 2020 membership discount, where if you are referred by someone who's already a member, usually a friend, you get a 20% discount as a new member, and then the friend who referred you gets a 20% discount. So she asked if I would like to be her friend referring her, and then I would get the discount. And I'm like, well, yeah, sure. Like, is there a catch? So the staff behind her confirmed, yes, this is valid and true, and she's just looking for someone that can sign her up so she can get the discount, and you'll get it too. I'm like, okay, great. Where do I go sign up? I'll step off this machine right now. So then I did. I stepped off the machine, walked downstairs with these two women to the welcome desk, and there happened to be someone in line, and we had to wait a few minutes before we could do the paperwork. And so this new friend and I were awkwardly waiting and not talking, and I didn't know if I should say something, and it didn't occur to me, well, what should I say? But I wasn't thinking about having a conversation. I was thinking about the membership deal. I was like, wait, but I'm already a member. Do I qualify for this friends thing? And I was kind of going through that in my head and kind of stuck on that, not thinking about, oh, I should introduce myself. I should offer my name. I should say, hi, welcome to the area. Where did you move from? I didn't say anything. I just stood there thinking about, is this really gonna work? And well, anyway, long story short is it did work. We got up to the front of the line, did the super quick paperwork, and I think we exchanged like one sentence conversation while we waited finally. I think she asked me something about, I don't remember what she asked me. It's terrible. I was so focused on the membership deal and wondering if it would work or not. But we did get through the paperwork, and I shook her hand. I said, thanks for asking me to be your new friend and sign up for this deal. And she said, yeah, well, maybe I'll see you around next time I'm here working out. I said, yeah, okay, great. And then she left. So in that kind of situation, and trying to relate it back to the holidays, as an autistic person, when I'm meeting somebody for the first time, first of all, I'm struggling with the conversation of what do I say. Second of all, if there's any kind of distraction about like how I got there, or something that happened that day, or like, am I dressed right for this event, or anything that's on my mind that I'm hyper focused on and I can't get off of, it's even harder for me to initiate a conversation with a new person. And then there's always the matter of, I don't know what we have in common. I don't know what we can talk about. We can talk about, it's cold outside, but that's common knowledge. Everybody knows that, and that's not going to go very far. Helping people enjoy the holidays who are autistic, and especially if you have an entire family with one or two or more people who are autistic, it can be really difficult to enjoy being together. And that could be in your own home, or it can be in a church, or in a public venue, or at a friend's house, or a family member's house. So a few tips that I have found that have been helpful for me, and I'm sure some of these are kind of common tips for just anybody who struggles with anxiety or nervousness, but they work for me. So maybe they'll work for you and maybe anyone in your family who is autistic. And you can let me know if these are like, well, duh, those are not really news. Anybody knows those tips. Or if you found them helpful, let me know. And if you have any other ideas of tips that we could talk about, let me know those as well. So one of them is that if there is good, healthy food, I like to snack while I'm trying to figure out, okay, what is going on in this environment? Am I safe? Like, who's here? Who looks like we might have something in common? Maybe I'll try to start a conversation with that person. And I'm peeling this orange so I don't look awkward. I don't look like I'm by myself, not knowing what to do, even though I really don't know what to do. But I'm going to take as long as I can to peel this orange. I'm going to get all the little white pieces off. And then if there's only like sugary junk food, I don't like to eat that kind of food. So it's kind of more difficult for me to stall with food. So if you can provide healthy food, that's really helpful for someone who uses food to stall or to fidget. Because if we fidget with a bunch of junk food, that's not healthy for us. And it doesn't take long enough either. And so you eat more junk food than you really should. But healthy food you could eat a bunch of, and it takes longer to eat. And it's always very helpful. So if you could provide healthy snack food, that is a big help for people with autism, especially adults. The kids might not enjoy that as much, but kids have other ways to cope. The kids will definitely go for the junk food, but I don't think it's for anxiety. That's just because they want to eat the junk food. So these are more tips for adults. The other tip I have to share is a little bit more kind of leading up to an event, especially if I'm hosting an event. And I feel like I want to go above and beyond planning and making the space and the environment as welcoming and comfortable and beautiful as possible. And if I feel like I haven't done enough, or if I feel like I'm not contributing enough, I will create more ways to do more. Like I get nervous energy. I guess what I'm trying to say is I get nervous energy before hosting an event or before the festivities happen. And so I tend to keep myself busy all the way up till when it happens. And that can backfire on me because I get too tired. I overcommit myself. I overwork myself. And a lot of times I start things that either I don't finish or I finish at the last minute and then I don't have time to rest, or I don't have time to tidy up, or I don't have time to like wrap presents before midnight or 1 or 2 in the morning, things like that. And I know I don't have to do all of these things, but then I feel like, but I want to, because I think I'm anticipating in the moment at the event, I won't be able to contribute conversation or interaction or reciprocal, meaningful conversation or relationship interaction. So I feel like I try to, in advance, pay that forward and contribute in other ways. I hope that makes sense. So here's an example. This is not a holiday event, but I'm planning my daughter's bridal shower that's coming up in just a few months. And thankfully I'm not planning it alone. I have some wonderful family that is helping me. But I'm kind of doing this for the reasons I just mentioned, because I want to be able to contribute just in case if I like freeze up and if I can't have conversations with people, I can at least have this like presence of I did this, and it makes it beautiful and special. If I end up talking and having a great time and relaxed and interacting with lots of people, even better. Even better. That is my goal. But I still feel like I want to do this ahead of time just in case. I also want to do this because my grandma used to do this, and she used to always make handmade crocheted guest gifts for bridal showers and baby showers. And so on the one hand, I'm doing this for my autistic backup plan, I guess. But on the other hand, I'm doing this to carry on my grandma's tradition. So what I'm doing is the theme of the shower is Snow in love. Cute, right? Snow in love. So I am making tiny little, this is not done. There's 10 rings total, and I've done 3 so far. So there's 7 more rings to go in this little tiny snowflake ornament. So this is just the marker to show where I left off in my last stitch. Look, this is a tiny little crochet hook with some really thin yarn, and I have to make a bunch of these. This is my first one, so I'm still learning. But anyway, you can see it. Maybe I'll put it up close. Ooh, I'll put it behind or in front of this blue ornament. So you can see all the detail that goes into this. Am I focusing well enough? It doesn't really matter. But the moral of the story is this is my insurance policy in case my autistic awkwardness and lack of interaction and conversation precludes me from participating socially in my daughter's bridal shower. Is that helping make sense what I'm trying to get across? I tend to overdo preparing for events because I know that I struggle at the event. It took me a long time to realize this and to kind of come up with these ideas. And it wasn't a conscious thing. It wasn't like, I'm going to do a bunch of extra things because I know I'm not going to participate in the moment. It just kind of organically happened over the years. And it wasn't until like just this week, maybe even today, that I put it together that I do this for a reason. And the reason is because I'm so uncomfortable in these events at times. Not all the time, but I still want to have that backup just to fall back on. And then I'm actually more relaxed and comfortable and able to participate because I have the backup plan thing done. And it's something to talk about too. I can talk to people about making this and that I bought the wrong yarn. Let me show you what I first bought. First ball of yarn I bought for this was too big. I don't know if you can see, but so yeah, here. This was the first one I tried. And you can see how much bigger it is than this one. And I know you probably don't care about this, but see, at the event, at the bridal shower, I can talk about this and say, oh my gosh, I haven't crocheted in so long, but I wanted to do this for my daughter because my grandma used to do this and I used to watch her do it for, days and days and weeks in preparation for a shower. And I just loved that she did that. And everyone always loved what she made. And it was a great conversation piece. And I can talk about this all day at the shower and maybe nobody will care, but I will be interacting with people. It will be wonderful. I'm so excited. And I got blue too. So I'm making half of them white snowflakes and half of them blue snowflakes. And that was the color thing that she chose. And so I'm sticking with her theme. I could go on and on about crocheted snowflakes. I don't know what else I could talk about, but if nothing else is available, I can talk about that. So if you're hosting for someone in your family who struggles, you don't have to do any of this, but if you can think of something to talk about and prepare in advance or bring for your kids to play with or bring as a conversation piece to have in your back pocket or in your purse or in your wallet or something, there you go. You can enjoy the holidays with your family and friends that much more. So those are my tips for helping you to enjoy the holidays with your family and friends as an autistic adult. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful holiday season. Bye-bye.